If you're in wholesaling, you're probably aware that the Phoenix market is one of the most competitive markets in the country. We have a lot of wholesalers, probably because we're also the guru capital of the world. Now, here's the thing. With all those wholesalers, we're pretty friendly with one another. We actually mastermind together, help each other, actually compare notes. But there's one place we were not friendly with each other, and that's in the living room. So we actually practice a policy called the scorched earth policy. If you're not familiar with the scorched earth policy, this actually goes back to biblical times. What happens is one country would invade another country, and if they fail and they have to retreat, they'll literally burn the villages, salt the earth while they're escaping to make sure that the other country cannot pursue them. How does that apply to our business? Well, if we're not getting the house, nobody's getting the house. So we will literally plant landmines under the welcome mats, under the sofa cushions, and in the kitchen cabinets. So anyone that's coming in after us, they're getting blown up. To begin scorching the earth, what we want to do is we want to let them know we're not buying their house. Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, it sounds like we're not going to be a buyer for your home. So should we go? And after they say we should go, before I leave, I want to make sure that no one takes advantage of you. Let me go ahead and take off my house buyer hat and put on my trusted advisor hat. You have a pen and paper handy? I want to make sure you write these things down so that you can ask the next person after us these same set of questions. And we want them to write this down because we want to make sure that they actually ask these questions after we leave. So the first thing in scorching the earth is a non-refundable earnest money deposit. So we want to coach the homeowner. Make sure the next person you meet with that you get a $10,000 non-refundable earnest money deposit. They might ask you why. It's like, well, you know, if they're buying your home for $180,000, but they don't have $10,000 to put down, does that give you any cause for concern? Exactly. The second thing you want to coach the homeowner on is the importance of a non-assignable contract. So we'll tell them, make sure whoever comes in after us, that when they write the contract that you put in there, that the contract is not assignable. What happens is that the home buyer that's pretending to be a cash buyer doesn't actually have the money to buy your house, and they're going to sell the contract. So how you want to explain this to the homeowner? You know, I was talking to so-and-so, and they actually called us right before close, and they were freaking out. And we asked them what was going on. They said, well, the investor canceled on them because they couldn't move the property. So I'm not saying this will happen to you, but if you were expecting to close and your house is packed, you're in your truck 2 days before close of escrow, and investor calls to cancel on you, how's that going to affect things? How would you feel? So you can see how important it is to make sure that you get the contract that's not assignable. The third thing you want to coach them on is the importance of a no due diligence period. So we'll tell them, you know, when I came over today, this was my inspection. I don't have to do any additional inspections. So make sure if you're going to meet with somebody else that they don't have anyone else coming after them and they have a no due diligence period, right? Because what you don't want to have is they'll send an inspector over or a contractor, and then they'll tell you 5 or 10 days later on that they have to cancel their contract. So make sure that you put in the contract no due diligence period. Another thing to coach them on is the importance of nobody new being allowed in the house. So they'll tell you, I got my financial partner, my contractors, whoever come in after the house. For anyone that's coming in after them, make sure you ask them for a copy of their driver's license because you don't want any strangers walking through your home. And the last thing to coach them on is the importance of proof of funds. So just tell them, make sure whoever comes in after us, they also provide you a copy of their proof of funds, because some of these guys that are cash buyers are actually going to get a hard money loan to buy your house, and that's basically a mortgage. And when you met with us, it was really important to you that we were buying it cash and not having to get a mortgage. So if they're getting a hard money loan, that means that their mortgage might get declined right before close. And again, I can't speak for your situation, but I was talking to another person and they were ready to go. They were ready to move on in their lives. And the buyer that was a cash buyer called and canceled because they couldn't get their mortgage approved. If that happened to you, how would that affect things? Knowing that, how do you feel? So you can see the importance of getting a proof of funds from anyone that you can meet after us. Now that's a scorched earth policy when you're dealing with other investors. What about realtors? Because we run into realtors as well. So we'll tell them, make sure whatever realtor you decide to work with, that you put in the contract that if they say their house is worth $300,000 and they have to do a price reduction, it comes out on their end. Because why should that money come out of your pocket? And you will not find another homeowner that will disagree with that, right? So A, you're already winning there. Additionally, make sure if the realtor's so confident about the value of your home that if they can't sell at that price, that they'll buy it themselves. They're gonna look at you kind of funny, right? So that's the second thing. And the third thing is make sure that you put with the realtor that if they can't sell it after 30 days, that they will refund or waive their commission. Because if they're so confident that they can sell your house at this price, they should have no problems putting their money behind it. So that's how we scorch the earth when we're dealing against realtors. As you're watching this module, you probably have a couple of thoughts come to mind. Maybe the first one is, but Steve, I can't do that. Or, I thought you were a wholesaler. You don't assign contracts. So here's the great thing. When you do this, the likelihood of them turning this around on you is almost zero. They're not going to ask you so much for the $10,000 non-refundable, or the contract's not assignable, or no due diligence period, and so on. So as we've been doing this, we found that the only one that people ever come back to ask for is the $10,000 non-refundable earnest. So here's the good news. On those deals, they were good deals for us. We didn't mind. And that's only happened 3 times ever. So what you want to do is you want to adjust for your market. So maybe 10,000 is unreasonable. Maybe it's 5. Maybe it's 3. It could be 1,000 or 500. No matter what you offer, it's higher than your competition. I got one friend that does 20,000 non-refundable earnest money deposit. Another one that we see changed a lot is the non-assignable. Now, for us in Phoenix, we don't have transfer taxes. So for us, it's not a big deal to double close it, right? If we have to walk away with $1,700 less, that's not a big deal for us. But if you're in a market where you have to pay transfer taxes, then modify this accordingly. As you scorch the earth, you're gonna get one of 3 responses. First one is, oh my goodness, I had no idea how bad this industry was. I'd rather just go with you. What price do I need to be at to go with you? That's the ideal case. I wish it happened all the time. Happens every once in a while. The second scenario is, wow, you're right. They'll go out, talk to other wholesalers, and they'll find out that the other wholesalers would scoff at these suggestions, right? And they'll come back to us. And now they're ready to work with us. This one we see happen a lot, and our clients love this one. And the third one is, you never hear from the homeowner again. And sadly, this is the most common outcome, but if you can buy an extra 2 or 3 houses every single quarter, scorching the earth regularly, wouldn't it be worth it to scorch the earth at every home? And finally, I want to make sure that you're only using this when it's absolutely necessary. If you're still in negotiations, don't bring any of this up, right? You're only bringing it up when you're finding that, we're pretty close, but we can't get this done, and you're walking away. So it sounds like we're not going to be able to buy your house. Should I leave? And if they say yes, that's when we begin scorching the earth. Only use this when you can't buy the house. Do not educate them otherwise.